What up? What it is, yo? I, it's been a bit of time again. Yeah, need to do a little bit more, little more better at doing some of these videos. Um, just getting a quick one in, a quickie, a little bit different setting. Got a new ride recently, so that's good news. I don't know if that here's making a difference in the noise or whatever, background noise, but yeah, got a new ride. It's good news. It's good, always good, you know. It's good to be excited about something, you know, and you gotta fucking spoil yourself every now and again if you're able to, if you're in a position to. Um, Luckily, I am. So, um, sort of on the same subject. Basically, what I had in mind was to just kind of talk on um, just what a trip it is to be in a spot where uh, your parents are getting older. I mean, it just happens. Mine are not very far from 80, so I have two siblings, two much older siblings, and just like kind of like some of the conversations since I'm the local one, I guess, or closest physically, location wise. Uh, Talked about a little bit more probably with me. Um, so you just see every day, you know, people pass away, people, their time comes, that sort of thing. So over the last couple of years, since it's been a regular conversation, or I guess just mention, not like super going into detail about everything, but um, it's kind of a fucking scary thing, you know. Like, I'm definitely very lucky um, in the fact that these conversations can happen. Um, Not only like, and I don't mean just like because of uh, inheritance or whatever and that sort of thing, but like more so the fact that like they're thinking of it and they think of it and they you know are prepared, and that like we can have these conversations because it could be any day for any one of us, you know. So I mean that's good, you know, and kind of gets me thinking about what I want to do and set aside for my boys and start doing that because I'm fucking almost 40. You know, it's now's the time, even beyond time, to start setting aside, and hopefully that can be something substantial um, to leave for my own children. And so, yeah, I always am just really extremely grateful that I have that opportunity to just have these conversations with my parents, and um, you know, really puts in perspective a lot as far as friends and people I know that never get any kind of conversation period with their parents, much less something like this. So it just makes me feel very fortunate, which I am, and very grateful that um, you know, I was able to have and am able to have solid parents, solid role models it could have played out a lot differently, in a number of different ways. Maybe I would have been fairly similar. Maybe I would have been completely different. I don't know, who knows, but um, I like to, think that a lot of it had to do with who they were, and who they are. So when I do see, friends, people I grew up with lose family, lose parents, and that sort of thing now more than, 10 years ago, um, it's just something that kind of I think on. Um, because it's a reality, and I'm just extremely fortunate. So I think that is important, that we do that for our children, and that we really try to, maybe as we grow older, as children ourselves, or our parents' children, to maybe shut up a little bit more, um, and soak in some knowledge about life, finances, different planning, taking notes on everything, man, like mental notes. I should write down more. Um, just knowing when to listen, and maybe, you know, also definitely speaking up more in other areas too, and showing that gratitude, showing that appreciation, because I mean they still do a lot. They help out with Eli, as far as my youngest, and you know to and from school if it's needed, rides like that. They still are very close to with my oldest, um, and invite us over for supper, and those type of things. That's very important to me. That's 50% of the reason why I'm in small town of Wahoo is, you know, the my boys, their extended family and their immediate family and stuff like that are local, and then also because of my parents. Like, that's it. Otherwise, who knows where I'd be. But it's important for me to be able to have my kids receive that influence, from that older generation, damn near extinct generation, unfortunately, that we'll never see. They're the last of their kind to be that way. Yeah, they may have younger siblings and that sort of thing, or this, that, and the other, but you're still not going to get that ever again. The world's never going to get that full effect ever again. And that's something that, with the way the world is, and elections coming up and that sort of thing, you got to realize that those are special people. That's a special generation. And so I want my boys to be able to absorb as much as that as possible. Those old school morals, those old school ways, manners, and respect, and that sort of thing. I'm a little bit different. They're going to be a little bit different. That's just going to happen. But ultimately, those are the things that have benefited me more than hurt me by a long shot. My dad, is and can be very militant. That's just who he is. That's where he comes from. He was, military police, and comes from the old school, dude, like the shit that he saw and went through and had to do for his parents at a young age. And that instilled the never turn your back on blood mentality, which is passed down to me and to my brother and sister, and then my mom is just a ball of emotions. But um, you know you've got the rock, and then you've got the never ending love in a different way. They both give it, and they both have never failed, you know, um, in those realms. So, I mean, uh, those are just important things that, make me who I am, help to make me who I am, and I plan to, keep instilling that in my own children. So I'm very fortunate, you know. I'm just very, very fortunate in those things more than anything. I told my mom yesterday. I said, I don't care. I really, it doesn't fucking matter to me whether you guys give me $100 when you die, or if it's 10,000 or whatever. Like, that's not the point. The point is that, like, I feel very humbled and very fortunate that it's anything that they, you know, do those things and plan those things and set aside things, and you know are there for my kids. Like, just amazing grandparents. They're amazing parents, and they're amazing grandparents. So I definitely don't let that go unnoticed, and I definitely don't let that go unrecognized, internally and verbally. I make a point to let them know that, hey, like, that I couldn't ask for more. And as much as that, like, for my own peace of mind and, I guess, selfish reasons, maybe, I want them to be proud, but I want them to be proud for them. Like, I want them to be okay, like, when they pass away, and know that, like, everything's cool, So none of that would be possible without who they are. And I just think about that a lot. I've got a senior in high school, I've got a 9-year-old, and then I've got parents that are 77, so it's just a real, this year's been crazy for a number of different reasons, but all of that, man, all of that is intense too. So it's like, it probably won't happen tomorrow, or it could happen in 10 years, whatever the case. But, like, to be a little bit more prepared for that mentally and emotionally. And I don't think that anybody can be fully ready, especially when you've got the kind of bond and mutual love and respect that my parents and I have for each other. So it takes you back, man. It takes you back a step, in the sense of, like, stepping back and being like, man, like, what a ride, And I think that says a lot for anyone that wants to strive to be a good parent, and that's the main focus. Something that maybe they um, consciously think about every day, or some just it's an automatic, and some things are a blend of each. So you gotta stick by blood, and you gotta um, be able to teach, be able to be taught, be able to teach, be able to learn, and you know they continue to learn. Like they have to deal with my ass. Just different perspectives, different things like that. And they've come a long way. Um, and I benefit from that too. That they've got their youngest that's single father, you know, um, born in the 80s, raised in the 80s and 90s, um, different perspectives that come from that. And then, two boys with two different moms, um, all the differences that come with that, uh, you know, and they've had to accept a lot and you know learn as they go. So I mean, their patience and their understanding, their perspective, their love, their loyalty, their determination, their planning, their morals, their humor, you know, I couldn't ask for anything better. And that's super key and super important, and I'm super fucking lucky. Um, so didn't really mean to get emotional on this one. I just want to make sure that that's known. That like I carry that with me every day, all those different things, and um, try my best to pass that along to my kids and to learn from them as far as like the love and looking at your kids and pulling the positive and pulling the lessons and putting my own spin on things too. I do a lot of that. uh, maybe taking the extra opportunity to do this or that wasn't there, when I was a kid. Not in a negative way by any means, but it just is a different world. I have different opportunities. I don't have some of the same opportunities. It's all different, and it's different between the three of us siblings. Totally different lives, totally different locations, totally different experiences, for better and for worse, and all that jazz. But kind of a rambling, but it's just nice, and it's beyond nice to have that, and I think that's important. Whether you came from nothing, or you came from everything, or you came from somewhere in between, you know, it's yours to do with. Like that's yours to do with. You can build on that, from the bottom, or from being set from day one financially or whatever. My parents are very big penny pinchers, so I mean, like, I always thought we were poor as shit, and it just in comparison, I didn't have the fucking Jordans, I didn't have all that shit, anything Adidas, anything name brand, that was something that I learned with my own money to buy. My first stereo, my first, Adidas shoes, that was mine. I earned that, and I was taken care of, but like, you know, it was a lot of hand me downs, a lot of clothes that didn't fit, and a lot of like knockoff brands of shoes. Um, but those are lessons too. Why the fuck would you give your kid a pair of Jordans if they're gonna outgrow them in 6 months? So I mean, like, those are things that are like naturally instilled in me because of things they consciously did, and made sure of. So even something like that. Um, my dad, if you can't be on time, be early. Those are things that, like, because of that, because there was so much angst or anxiety, rushing the last minute and that sort of thing. Those are things that, like, to this day, will turn my gut if I'm about to be late, or if I'm not like, early or on time. God forbid. And that's something that, like, then I have to get used to the rest of the world not being like that. The large majority not being like that. Large majority of the world are late for shit, and that's fine. That's cool. But I'm so glad that, like, that's not me, and I'm so glad that is something that's like vital, for me. That's something so big. So any number of things, you know. My mom, I always say, she could meet somebody, I could introduce her to a girlfriend or a friend or whatever the case may be, and talk to them for 5 minutes, and they tell us a random story, and then she's crying and hugging them, and so glad that things turned out good, or and that's where the empath and the all that, those different things, come from. So, I pay attention. I pay attention to everybody, and I pay attention to myself, and I pay attention to different things, people's mannerisms, what's important to people. Why are they late all the time? Is that like a conscious thing, or is that like a thing where, they just never had that. They never had that reminder, or they didn't know to pay attention to it when their teachers would say shit, or whatever. It, and it can be all different kinds of reasons. It can be all different kinds of things. Um, but I definitely wouldn't have that, like, outlook, maybe, or pay attention as close, maybe, if I wasn't, or definitely, part of it is because it was such a big deal. I didn't know why we were showing up at, we had to be at church at 5 or 10 after for 5:30 mass. Like, we were the only ones in there, except for extremely old people. you know Different things like that, family get-togethers. Still, my sister will say 4:30, and we get to her house at 10 after. Probably drives her fucking nuts, but you know that's that's the mentality. That's that older age, that older generation. And they stuck to that shit. They stuck to all those different morals, all those different factors, all those different habits that they developed on their own too. The saving, nobody taught them that shit. My dad made the majority of the money, and my mom balanced it all, put away shit, every little dollar, every little fucking penny that she could. She realized that, and it dawned on her from the get. You know, when they weren't making shit, but they still could save something. It's huge. So, just reflecting on that, and you know, you gotta, your job sucks, you know, your people suck, you've got different things going on in your life, you know, those are the most important times, as much as good times. But those are the times when you really got to pull on that shit. Who am I? Where did I come from? You know, who the fuck built me? Who did that? You know, who did this at this time? And it could be friends too. You can learn all those different things from somebody that is a lifelong friend. You know, and you know, I try to pull on that too. What does this friend represent to me? What does this friend bring to the table as much or more or whatever as I do for them, you know? And that's very important to me too. And that was something that like I learned on my own, you know, like I was so young and basically like an only child in a lot of ways that like friends became family, you know, and that was always just my mentality. So point of the story is that like know where you came from, appreciate what you need to appreciate out of it. If you weren't as fortunate, you know, like a lot of people are not, and you know, draw from that, do something about it, you know. If you got kicked around, don't kick your kids around, you know. If it fucked you up, then don't do that. Even if it didn't fuck you up, don't do that. But I mean, like, you know, draw on those things and know that like those, every little thing fucking happens for a reason, and every little thing is linked to the next. And pay attention to the signs, pay attention to the lessons, pay attention to the shit that they fucking pound through your fucking head over and over and over. I'm guilty of the same fucking thing, you know. And do 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 good by it, and do them proud. If they weren't there, give them a reason to show that that wasn't needed, and that you were fortunate for that. I didn't need you. I didn't need you, but thank you, because without your absence, maybe I wouldn't have this strength. Maybe if you were around and you were shitty or not in the right state of mind or whatever, maybe I wouldn't have this strength, you know? All those different things, man. And then that's what life's all about, you know. It is, are the lessons, are the experiences, pulling the positive, and appreciation and gratitude for all the trials and the tribulations alike, equally. So that's my message, and I hope everybody has a great day. It's Thursday morning right now, you know. If you're watching this at a different time, have a great day then too, and I'll catch you on the flip.